Hi guys, so welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be doing a first impressions on the Milk Makeup Blur Liquid Foundation. So I've been so excited to try this out. I've had this in my drawer for about a week, but I wanted to do a first impressions on it, so I had to hold myself back from using it. But today was the day. I obviously have it on right now. I will show you application after this, and then I will be doing check-ins throughout the day to see how it wears. So I bought mine from milkmakeup.com, and you get 1 fluid ounce of product, which is a very standard amount of foundation, and the cost is $40 US. So it is definitely a high-end price tag, but it's sort of middle of the range in terms of it's more than drugstore, but it's less than a luxury brand of foundation. Okay, so this foundation claims to be a full coverage, water-thin foundation that provides a weightless, long-wearing matte finish. It is a silicone-free formula, so it won't clog pores, and blurring microspheres minimize the appearance of pores, fine lines, and imperfections for a smooth, flawless-looking finish. It says to shake well before use, blah blah blah. It is silicone-free, dimethicone-free, oil-free, cruelty-free, vegan, and made in the USA. So it has a lot of really great claims. It's supposed to be good for your skin while still being full coverage. I have mine in the shade medium light, which is a warm or golden undertone. And I just want to say really quick that this packaging for some reason like really appeals to me. It's so plain, but I feel like it's very clean, and I just like that a lot. So yeah. This is my first time using it today, so I will show you application, and I will be doing a wear test. So I will be checking in different times throughout the day to sort of see how it looks. So if you want to see all that and you want to know what my final thoughts are on this Milk Makeup Blur Liquid Foundation, then keep watching. Okay, so I'm going to start by putting primer on half of my face. I'm going to do it on the half that is not breaking out. As you can see, I'm breaking out really badly right here. I think it's from a mask that I used, but I'm not sure, so I'm just going to use the primer on this half, and I'm just going to put a pump of that on a beauty blender and then apply that really quickly to this half of my face. Okay, so I obviously have my beauty blender here, which I just used to apply primer on this half of my face, and I also have a Sigma F80 flat kabuki brush. So I'm not sure which one will work better with the foundation, so I'm just going to try both and see what works. So I have the foundation here. I'm again in the shade medium light, so I'm going to pop this out. So there it is. It says, I think on the box, to shake it. Yeah, it says shake well before use. Alright, so I'm just going to start off with the beauty blender. I'm just going to take a little bit to start off with. So I'll just do that much, just a drop basically. And then I'm going to start on this side that I didn't add primer. So it has a little bit of a smell, not like a perfumey smell, but almost, what is it? I'm not sure how to describe it. It definitely has like a little bit of a scent, but it's not a perfume scent. It's just, I don't know, it's not scentless. I don't know how to describe what it smells like though. So it definitely has really good coverage. You can see that right away. It's done a good job sort of helping mask the breakout that I have a little bit. It does seem sort of, with the beauty blender at least, when I'm going over the same area, it's almost picking the product up off of itself. I'm going to try it with the brush, I think. So I'm going to put a little bit on the brush. I'll just do the same amount, basically like a drop on the brush. Okay, so I think I'm liking the application with the brush a little bit better. It just seems to be a little bit more even. And I feel like with the beauty blender side, there's some areas where the foundation sort of stuck a little bit more than others, like it's almost patchy. So I think I'm just going to go in with a bit more on both sides just to even it out and add a bit more coverage and see if it will build up right here in this area that I need coverage the most. So I'm just going to take more on the brush. I feel like on camera especially it looks very yellow, like the You can definitely see the yellowness in the foundation, more so on camera than in real life. I'm just going to use this Sigma P88 to go around my brows. Okay, so I'm going to continue using this precision concealer type of a brush, and I'm going to see if I can build up coverage almost as a concealer in certain areas, just to see if it builds up nicely on top of itself. So I'm going to add some right there and right here. And then on the forehead, basically the areas that I'm breaking out. So just as a first impressions, I'm quite confused. I don't know how else to put it. Like, I'm torn and confused because this says that it's a matte foundation, but it does not look matte whatsoever on my skin. Granted, I'm going to give it like 10 minutes to dry down off camera and see if it dries down a little bit more matte, but it's been on for a few minutes. And there is sort of a sheen. You can definitely see that on camera, like on the high points of my face, you see that there's a sheen to it. And I don't mind that at all. I like foundations that have a sheen because I think they tend to look more natural on the skin. But this sheen is almost accentuating like dryness on my skin. And it's almost accentuating or showing like pores that I have in my skin. Like on this area, again, on the high points of my face, this is not like a problem area for me. It's not a porous area, a textured area on my skin. But you can see almost like pores everywhere on that area. And it doesn't look amazing, honestly. I hope that translates on camera. But it's like I can see everything on my skin. I feel like you almost need to use your fingers to really blend it in as well on top of whatever tool you're using. So I hope you can kind of see the different things that I was talking about that I was being critical of around my nose area and sort of on the high points of my face. I am obviously being hypercritical of it right now because this is the first time I have applied it and I'm doing a first impressions on it. So I'm just gonna go downstairs and give this like 5 to 10 minutes to completely sort of settle into my skin without doing anything to it, and I will come back and show you how it looks. Okay, so I've had the foundation on its own for about half an hour, so it's had a lot of time to sort of sink into the skin and settle. So I am going to add some concealer now to see how it pairs with the concealer that I've been using, which is the YSL All Hours concealer in the shade 2 Ivory. Okay, so there it is with the All Hours concealer on my face. I feel like the concealer even has a much more matte finish than the foundation. You can see in the areas where I added concealer, it almost has a little bit more of a flattened, like smoother appearance. And then the areas where it's just foundation, you can see that glow that there is to the skin. I think I think the main thing that's throwing me off with this foundation is because the whole time that I was thinking about this foundation, if that makes sense, or when I was researching it, whatever it was, I always had in my mind that it was going to be a matte foundation. So I almost thought that it was going to be a comparable foundation to my YSL All Hours. I thought they were going to be quite similar, but this is so different from that foundation. I don't dislike this foundation. I like that it has a glow to the skin. I think it makes the skin look quite luminescent and natural. It layered beautifully with the concealer. The product didn't move around at all when I added concealer on top of it. So far, it settled into the skin quite nicely. It doesn't feel tacky. So again, I am going to put the rest of my makeup on, and then I'm going to leave that on for a little while and come back and do sort of a check-in to show you how everything has settled in with each other and see if that's made a difference in terms of how everything is sitting on top of my skin. So I will be back in about an hour. So I've had my foundation on for a few more hours. It is now 3, and the last time I signed off it was around 1. So it's been another 2 hours. I think the foundation doesn't look too different, but it has started to settle a little bit in my fine lines and like the pores on my chin. Right here in the areas where I have my nose crease and a little bit of that breakout, and where I have like more noticeable pores, it is starting to sort of sink into those areas, and it just doesn't, overall it doesn't look like super flawless. Like obviously when you have a breakout or anything like that, it's always going to be a little bit noticeable. You can't just get rid of it because it's raised. But in areas where I have like pores and those fine lines and things, all the foundations that I love don't ever accentuate those areas. They smooth them out, and I feel like this is not really doing that. So I really want to try a pore filling primer with this. I think right now that's the only way I could see myself really liking it, is if I used a pore filling primer underneath, and when I use this on top everything sort of stayed very smooth looking. I think that would be like the saving grace for this foundation. So I'm still gonna leave this on and do another check-in later on in a couple more hours. It's 3 now, so probably around 5. I'll do another check-in to see how it's looking. In terms of like oil, it didn't make me oily or anything like that. It still looks pretty natural. It's just that it's settling into my pores and fine lines, so I'm not super into that right now. So I will check back in later to see if it started to break up or anything like that. Sometimes that can happen after wearing it for quite a few hours. So we will see at around 5 how everything is looking. Okay, so I've had the foundation on for well over 8 hours now. It is currently 8 p.m. I was gonna do a check-in at 5, but I went out and ran a bunch of errands. So I've been running around, I've been sweating. I think that's why I look so shiny. It's not so much from being like oily. I think it's just because I've literally been running around like a crazy person. So the foundation, I will say, has held up really well. I haven't lost any of the coverage anywhere that I put the foundation. In the areas where I added extra coverage, it hasn't come off. Like in the areas where I concealed and added more foundation to cover where I'm breaking out, there's still total coverage there, which I really appreciate. It's not the type of foundation that sort of comes off on your fingers when you rub your face. So it has stayed full coverage, which I really like. So that's one really good thing about this foundation so far. As far as a con, I feel honestly the same way as I did when I last checked in. When I applied it and after it settled into my skin, it doesn't look good around the areas where I sort of added extra coverage, like areas that I'm breaking out where the skin is a little drier, areas where I have pores. It doesn't really look very good on its own. On the side that has primer and the side that doesn't, honestly there's not much of a difference, so that is a good thing. But I again want to use it with a pore filling primer to see if it helps those areas where it was sinking into fine lines and texture on my skin. But I am gonna keep you guys updated. I'm probably gonna use this foundation in another video, so I will definitely use it with a pore filling primer at that time. I think the foundation honestly is pretty good. I really like the coverage. I like that it's, you know, vegan, cruelty-free. It has no dimethicone and things in it, so you're not sort of layering your face with so many of those pore clogging ingredients. But I think I'm definitely gonna have to play around to say that it's one that I like totally recommend to you guys. So sorry for this review being kind of mixed. Honestly, it is a first impressions, and that's kind of just how it is. I'm definitely gonna have to play around with it more to really flesh out whether it's something that I do or don't like. Yeah, I hope you guys liked the video. I hope it was helpful in one way or another. And if you did like the video, please like and subscribe, and have a great day or night wherever you are. Bye. By the way, if you notice on the bed, that's my 3-month-old there, just hanging out. So in case you hear baby chatter back there. So yeah, just thought I would mention that she's back there in case you see and you're like, what is that? It's a baby.